Hey adventurers, so today is going to be another book review. This is for Voice of War by Zack Argyle. This is the first book in the Threadlight series. It's a self-published fantasy series, high fantasy series that's quite a lot of I've heard quite a lot about, I guess I'll put it. I went into this book expecting to enjoy it because I knew that the magic system had to do with color and light a little bit, and usually those magic systems work for me extremely well. So I figured I would probably enjoy this, plus with all the people that I'd heard talking about how good the series was, I expected to really enjoy it. And as you'll see through the rest of this review, I quite enjoyed it, though I did have some few issues with it. In many ways, this book felt very much like a setup book. Fortunately, there was some things about that offset it a little bit, so that it wasn't just so that it kept it from being only a setup book. That being said, the series being set up does seem to be exactly the type of thing I like. Like I mentioned, fantasy with the type of magic system that I like is very much a hard magic system based around color and light. Perfect. Exactly the type of thing that I like. This book was mostly focused on the main character and his journey through the first portion of the series, at least. I don't know, I haven't continued on with the series yet, so I don't know if his story is what continues throughout the rest of the series or not. But at least in book one, it mainly followed this main character. We learn that there's more to know than anyone realized, and realizing also that he is in many ways at the center of all that's going on. And that's really a good setup. He's kind of like an important character in the world as it is, but not terribly important, but then you realize, oh wait, he's a lot more important than it seems because of all these other surrounding things that are going on. Lots of mysteries that begin to be unraveled and questions that you didn't know you had answered. Very fast-paced, but not at the expense of emotion or information. It was also pretty clean, which I really appreciated about that. No gratuitous language, sex, or violence that I remember. There may have been some, but I don't specifically remember there being anything that was like there just for the sake of it being there. It was, if it was there, it served the story or it served the characters in some way. The themes in this book surrounding fatherhood and family are ones that I definitely don't see enough in books. I really like seeing themes surrounding family because it's very strong. It's a very good theme, strong theme to use, but I just don't see it that often. And I really appreciated seeing it far more than I expected I would. Honestly though, the thing that made me want to read the series was a combination of the beautiful covers as well as the magic system. I've got the cover up here probably so that you can see what it looks like, but for some reason these covers just really work well for me. Maybe it's just because there's that little splash of color. I mean, it's not black and white, but it's very bland, very earth tone, except that splash of color that looks so good. Book 2 looks even better. The cover for book 2 looks even better. I didn't know much about the magic system of this series, but I had heard that it had something to do with light and color, like I already mentioned. Light and color-based magic systems, while rarely my all-time favorites, I always seem to enjoy them. For some reason they work so well and they make me love a magic system faster than just about anything else could. Along with the great magic though, the rest of the world building was wonderful. The hidden society trope is one that I really enjoy and that I pretty much always latch onto in all its various different forms. I mean, Harry Potter is a hidden society in many ways, and there's so many variations on that. There's that basically half the world is magical and that's hidden from the rest of the world. There's this small group of people that are hidden from the rest of the world. However that trope takes on, the hidden society trope takes form in the story, I tend to really enjoy it. Especially, so for this book specifically, I especially loved that the hidden society was like a fae society, and intricately attached to the magic of the world. And it's so cool when they incorporate like a magical race essentially into this world to tell this story that they're telling, and it works so good in this story. Also, magical or dangerous forests always catch my attention. Again, very common trope, but it works so well and I love it so much. As well as cool creatures, and we get to meet some cool creatures in both flora and fauna, but we didn't really get to explore them too much in this book. I'm really hoping we will get to explore them a little bit more in book 2 and 3. There might be a 4th book coming. I don't know how long this series is, but I know at least book 2 and 3 are out, maybe? I don't, Book 3 might not be out yet. Anyways, but I really like cool magical creatures that get brought into stories, whether they're magical creatures that are like common fantasy creatures or if they're created specifically for the story. Either way, it works and I love them. This series really has everything going for it to make me absolutely love it. I'll for sure be continuing on with the series at some point, though I'm not sure when I'll get to it. I randomly happen to have a free time between audiobooks, and since I had Voice of War, I was like, oh, that's a good one, I'll just slip it in right here. It's not terribly long, it'll fit perfectly in right here, and I'll just continue on. I can't say that it's my favorite book, but I can see the series becoming a favorite of mine pretty easily. In reality, my rating is probably a bit lower than I gave it on Goodreads, which I think I gave it a 4-star on Goodreads, I'm not positive. But for something that I enjoyed as much as this, and especially when it is a smaller author or self-published author, I really don't feel bad about boosting my score on platforms in order for people to see it and be more willing to pick it up type thing. I guess I didn't really go into a lot of my more negatives of this book, and it wasn't really that it was negatives, it very much is all tied into it being very much of a setup book and not really having a ton of story that is going on in this specific book. It's mostly set up for the rest of the series, and that's not bad in any means. I love setting up for a greater world, and especially with this book only being like about an 8-hour audiobook, I believe, so it's not terribly long, but it worked really well as a setup book, and it also, or as the first book in a series that you know you're going to get more from. So I did have a little bit of, I would have liked to see a little bit more from book 1, but at the same time, what it did really, really well. So yeah, that's my review for Voice of War by Zack Argyle. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and comment if you haven't already. We post videos every Monday and Thursday. We have our social medias linked in the description down below. Thanks for watching. Stay warm.